Hey, it's Sheryl and here we are on week 3. So a quick review. We started with early light to dinner and then we added on early to bed. And now we're starting the day right. See how they interlink together? If we haven't had early light to dinner, it's going to be harder to go to bed. If we're staying up later, it's going to be harder to start the day on the front foot, harder to get out of bed, and then we're not taking advantage of the sacred time of the dawn. How you set up your day largely depends on how you wake up. You can choose to not eat earlier and to not go to bed early, but if you start to feel unbalanced, feel like you're not living an awake life, it's really important to get this connection with early to rise.
Let's pause and presence ourselves now. What's the big picture? Why are you changing all these habits that might be hard and perhaps not even fun? As you're trading in some bad habits for some better habits, realise there's real-time consequences to lining up and to misaligning. These habits work. These naturally happen when we line up with nature. And the habits we have that don't line up are working against us. Really, all we're doing here is lining up with nature. When we line up, we experience ease, and when not, we experience stress. What does that look like? With ease, the body is more fluid, digestion is uninterrupted, sleep is easy and deep. We experience a lot of energy. When we are not lined up, we don't have energy, we feel ineffective, less sparky, and generally out of tune. It's really that simple. Perfectionism is an ego strategy. Look at that statement. Perfectionism is an ego strategy. There will be some of you who think that if you don't get these perfect all of the time, you're a failure. And the catch is, trying to do it perfectly will often get in the way of you experiencing success along the way. Let's not buy into the, oh, what the hell mindset, where if we don't do it all perfectly, we just throw in the towel. If you're trying to change a habit and you don't know what your trigger habit reward is, if you're trying to change a habit and not using the Kaizen approach, or trying to change a habit and you're not using peer support, good luck. How many have tried to change habits in the past and failed? Everyone has. This is a common shared human experience. So given that, and how we can use the tools we now know are effective in real time, and use these to step towards your goal with leaps and bounds. Integrate peer support. Reach out and hook up. This will be so helpful as you're putting it out there, and this helps with habit change and our identity shifts. There's a peer support worksheet in your Better Habits Guide. Have a look at it. Kaizen. Small, consistent changes. The lowest hanging fruit means the easiest way for you to see improvement, to get things to shift in your physiology and shift in your daily lifestyle habits. Choose the simplest ways to do that. We want these processes to become automatic because basically these habits are non-negotiable. We might try to get away with burning the candle at both ends. We might try to get away with overburdening our digestive system, our Agni, this is called, our digestive fire, by eating too much food too late at night. But really, these are non-negotiable habits, because if you do that, you're going against ease. You're going against a more stress-free life for your body, your mind and your spirit. And you're making things inefficient and really hard on yourself. So take the world view of small, steady improvement, one thing at a time, little by little, to work in these habits and practices so they become automatic and our standard. Let's look back at the Doshik clock, our Ayurvedic energy clock. A quick review on how energy works in relation to time. Remember, 6 is not truly 6. It's sunrise and sunset. So depending on where we are located, north or south of the equator, the more fluctuation there is in the 24-hour cycle of daylight and darkness. So we spoke of dinner on or prior to 6, so that between 6 and 10 p.m. is digestive time. Energy goes down. This is governed by kapha, remember, earth and water. There's a heaviness, a groundedness, the physical of this world kind of energy. This is a great time to unwind, to get deeper physical rest. Then if we're doing this, eating early, the next logical step is going to bed early. We naturally have that 8-hour cycle of sleep, say 9 p.m. to 5 a.m., which is what our physiology seems to optimise on, and research supports this. I sometimes even need 9 hours, so allow for that. There may be certain times that you need a little less, and you'll be able to catch up on it other times. If you're waking up past dawn, after the sunrise, you're locked into the static, physical, this worldness of kapha, and the energy here is heavy and dense. The dew after the dawn, moisture and of this world. I've got this to do today and I've got that to do. That mindset is more or less locked in. Whereas if you're waking up pre-dawn, you can ask the question, who am I? You can wonder what's beyond the physical body, the mental or the emotional body. The I, me, mine is more of the mindset of kapha. Before the dawn is the mystery, the sense of who am I and what do I want to become? What do I want to think, to sense? What type of awareness do I want to have as I walk through this day? There's a natural inner body expansion that's physiological at this time of day. It aligns with time opening up. Early morning is a sacred time of day. It has also been referred to as God's hour. That's why we want to be waking up then, prior to the dawn. And if you want to commit to a spiritual path, you may need to reroute for that. If you want to start meditating or gaining traction in your spiritual life, you'll need to align the habits to support this. This time from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. is a sort of wild child energy of Vata. Kapha is on schedule, is rhythmic. Vata is variable energy, it's not static. There's an increase in 2 elements, air and ether. Think of it as movement through space. When Vata goes through a subtle Agni, it becomes prana. Prana is also known as life force. In traditional Chinese medicine they refer to it as chi or ki. And prana is exquisite. Just in this short time frame every day, prana moves consciousness, expands, moves and flows. Vata's qualities are clear, expanding, mobile, subtle, and the qualities of consciousness itself. Consciousness contains the experience of peace and ease. And I know I put my hand up for that. I hope you realise this is the gig you want to attend. It's free and available every single morning. Waking up earlier has the attributes of being agreeable, conscious, proactive. You anticipate problems, are more enthusiastic, optimistic, and are better planners. There's time to exercise and there's more family time. Enjoy the hour to organise the day and also to dive into the quiet time. There's a Forbes study from 2008 which showed early bird uni students achieve better results than those who are identified as night owls. How you tap into the early hours of Vata energy, full of expansion and super easeful in its essence, is totally your call. Some may choose to meditate, some may walk. How you do it is less important than understanding and honouring the concept. How do you want to honour this time of day? How do you want to plug into this outlet of power source? Let's say we've woken up early after a great night's sleep following an early lighter dinner and an earlier bedtime. Now we're awake to greet the sun. We might find the natural sense of expansion. That's all part of Vata time of day, and our awareness is expanding into the bigger picture experience and perspective, the interconnectedness of the universe. Let's and be in bewilderment. Forget our knowing and be in bewilderment. A pause in the expansive consciousness. Even just a moment of present thought as the layers of the body are reconnecting, your eyes are cracking open, and awareness shifts out to the birds or the dawning morning light. This can help shift your experience and how you respond to life that day. The idea is to make time before the critters start to stir. For the Wonderlanders and perhaps others that are interested in exploring the open to the larger perspective, more into the cosmic time and cosmic space, a bit more of the philosophy, I'm going to record a little add-on that you can watch after this slide. Next we move right into the physical body. Hydrate and eliminate are totally interconnected. It's a natural cycle. This aligns our physical and subtle bodies with our north-south axis, our crane to root chakra. Opening to the larger perspective is crown activity, the higher awareness, the expansion, and pooping is with our root or our base chakra activity. So we connect up and then we bring the energy through and down. Hydration, which helps push the physical waste out. Water is heavy, the weight of it descends, and it's not deeply absorbed. It encourages and stimulates peristalsis. You wake up and you drink water. Not sipping it, we need to chug it down because this water is not for absorption. It's for flushing, to cleanse the inner body, to release the digestive tract. So hydrate until you poop. Some may need a lot here, 1 to 1.5 litres, maybe even 2. The water creates this peristaltic pressure, and you may need to go slow here and even add some ginger or some lemon until you can build up the tolerance to have the volume of water required for elimination to occur. For me, generally, it's 3 glasses, so about 750 ml. You'll find where your baseline is. You might notice the appetite diminish with this volume of morning water. Another way to help with the volume of water required to poop in the morning is to ensure the hydration throughout the day as well. So from an Ayurvedic perspective, it's not just half a cup here. It's serious about hydrate enough to have a complete elimination. That's how you know how much to drink. Signs of dehydration include joint stiffness, dry skin, dry lips, even food cravings. These are all signs the body is not deeply hydrated. Now, if you're very physically active the day before, you may need to increase your hydration the following morning. If your body leans towards constipation, overdo the hydration. Get to know your body. Find out how much water it takes to have complete elimination. Wake up, hydrate, eliminate. This balances the vata this time of day, and these steps are non-negotiable for health. Many people have incomplete bowel movements. The goal from Ayurveda is about 45 centimetres within an hour upon rising. So we're not talking about just the descending colon, but also the transverse colon is empty as well. As the physical body releases downward grounding flow, and it allows energy to flow in the energy body, you may even feel the whoosh of the north-south axis, the crown to root chakra, as it's opening and flowing. Pitta can have issues with dehydration, so look at how to increase water in the morning as well as throughout the day. Vata can have trouble processing the large volumes of water, so slow and steady. Kaphas are water elements, so they don't usually need that much water. This will all shift depending on our stages of life as well. As we move into our wisdom years, this becomes a Vata time. So it's awareness of how our stages of life affect our doshas as well. So we need to take the time to poop. Before your day gets ahead of you, take time to sit on the loo. Put a short stool under your feet to create the natural and optimal position for great elimination. We're aiming to be rock star poopers here, and it's the holy grail for our health. So the stool idea brings us back to the squat. There's a concept that, of course, they've tapped into from a marketing perspective, and they're calling it the squatty potty. But basically it's a stool or something that raises our feet around 30 centimetres. This helps to align the energy in the spine to descend, and it relaxes the muscle on a physical level, and it removes the kink in the hose, so to speak. There are some amazing results for others who have participated in the course who were chronically constipated and are now rockstar poopers. So other steps are to stop the snacking and go into our meal spacing, and having the water between our meals will also help with our good peristalsis. So you could have a stool under your feet, or even just a stack of books. So this slide is showing us that we're designed to squat. It's showing the muscle that is released with the squat, and also how the body or the stool under our feet makes a difference with how our hips sit and how our spine opens. The fallout from incomplete elimination are polyps and hemorrhoids, or perhaps you have daily movements and complete emptying, but it's a bit watery, and this indicates excess pitta in the system. So incomplete elimination, there's waste in the system. If there's excess elimination, the system feels wasted or fatigued or depleted. So there's either the depletion or the armour, the toxins. Normal elimination is the goal. The 45 centimetre stool within an hour upon rising. This is a very common condition in our society, and my genetic family was no different. I remember as a kid my mum applying some old wives' tale treatment which involved a slither of soap. I won't go into the specifics here to save you from that. It did work, by the way, but of course that's treating the symptom and not the cause. When I started this program, I was already drinking water in the morning, 2 cups with lemon juice generally, but I didn't know the reason from the Ayurvedic perspective, and that I was only aware of half of the story. And I find that quite a lot. The information shared from our media usually taps into suggestions from the East, but the whole reason or rationale or treatment is not understood or perhaps not shared. I find this makes the whole world view perspective different when you get the big picture. So basically with constipation, the body continues to carry waste throughout the day that would have been better eliminating. Constipation is linked with our standard American diet and with dehydration. So standard American diet does still contain fruits and veggies, but there's a lot of processed foods in there as well. So reflect. Do you have headaches or perhaps skin conditions? These can be linked to reabsorbed toxins from the backed up bowels. So some tips to help are the morning water. Increase our cooked and raw veggies due to the higher water content. Fermented foods are great for our gut support. And there's supplements which can help, magnesium and aloe vera. Some homework for you. Check your poop. Does it match the right banana test, as in smoothness and consistency? Or is it hard, meaning there's not enough water? Or is it runny, which is the malabsorption of water? The last tip is we need to look at our movement as well. These bodies that we have are meant to move. Are your activities more kapha, such as sitting at computers or desks for your jobs? Perhaps even in your spare time you like to read or write or even do some meditation. These are more kapha. They're not kind of getting the energy flowing quite the same for our bodies. Increase movement so that the water can do its thing. Get the downward flow. So go for a walk, do some yoga, even like a tramp or the rebounders. This can help with our lymphatic jiggle as well, which helps our immune systems. We're trying to organise the body's energy so the practices that follow are supercharged, with no junk in the trunk or gunk in the system. Now for the loose stools, looseness can be an indicator of high pitta constitution, as I mentioned. So nutmeg can help to bind the stool. So just tweak with that. If you do suffer from constipation, you may consider taking nutmeg out. So if you're losing a lot of fluid through the stool, you're going to become more dehydrated. So you need to be aware of replenishing not just your daily water allocation, but what you're also losing. So with loose stools, we need to look at your diet more. Is there mucus in the intestines so your body is not able to take the time to digest and absorb the nutrients from your foods? You may need to have a deeper look here perhaps an elimination diet or a detox, and start to notice what foods enable your body to form better stools. And of course, the last step in our morning start the day right is to nutrify. So we need to break the fast. The 12 to 13 hour overnight fast that we've had means we have breakfast. Think of green smoothies, which increase our water content and our veggie count. And in winter you may consider stewed apples with some oatmeal. Be aware, if you do have constipation, that grains and breads are heavy and can be like glue for the gut. Having these for breakfast may sabotage the health of your bowel if you have constipation. Let's talk a little more about habit evolution. If we look at this in terms of habits, you might be saying, I already don't have enough time to hydrate and poop, and now she's adding something else. Oh my God. This Easeful Vitality course, it's too much. I don't have the time. That's part of your identity. Or say you have a long-standing pattern of waking up and checking Facebook or emails, or doing something that engages the logical, rational mind, and that's cementing the mind into that pattern that day. Or say you have a general lack of awareness around what your body needs in terms of hydration and elimination. As we work this habit, we're going to find there's some check-in points because there's layers of beliefs, habits, and identity. Our identity is tied up with our beliefs, and our habits reinforce that. As we start to think, oh, I'm going to have to wake up, hydrate, and poop, you're going to shift your identity from someone who's less conscious about the body's needs and who doesn't have the time to do these things, and become someone who does. This is now how the world is going to see you. You might start to glow. Your skin might start to clear up. You might feel more grounded, relaxed, and in control of your life, and other people will see that. So instead of being someone who forgets their keys, is always late, you are someone who's really reliable, who shows up, who keeps their word. Some of these things might not be connected for you, but some are, and what you want to see at this point in this process is how your new habits are shifting your identity, and how to actually identify with someone who has habits that you want to have. Because the more you identify with that, the more you visualize yourself as that, the more you hang out with people who are already doing that, including people on the forum, that will become you, and you will become that. Your identity will shift, and then people will actually see you in that new way. Habits of that identity is someone who wakes up, hydrates, and has awesome bowel habits. It's really worth revisiting this concept. It's so important to get. We are in a flow, and we can choose the habits we want to be the person we want to be, including the physical experience in our body. So much is malleable. There's always someone who has been constipated their whole life who's now a pooping rock star. If that's not your issue, in the identity shift, see yourself as someone who's really aware of the big picture perspective. And this idea is to blow your own mind, the magnitude and the magnificence and the power to act today, to choose your identity, the power to have the habits that reinforce who you want to become. What is possible? If you overeat the night before, if you drink too much, not have a good bedtime routine, stressed out, which interrupts a sound night's sleep, start planning the day right, including the preceding 24 hours, and know exactly how you can set yourself up for success. The more crystal clear you are on that, the more you're going to know you're making choices that are out of alignment with who you want to become, and the more you'll start to visualize making the choices and acting in alignment. So a quick overview on what we've covered in this session. We've talked about the big picture perspective, tapping into the Vata time, really focused on the importance of the hydrating and pooping, and also touched on our movement and our nourishment in the morning. Habits prior to this support this one. Once again, we're layering on. Note that each concept we've discussed is to be implemented. It's not just a suggestion, but something to do in whatever capacity you can and want. So make sure that you're doing the work. The non-negotiables here: hydrate, eliminate, and get into easeful relationship to life, not rushing to catch up with the alarm not going off on time. Either you're lining up with nature or making life really hard for yourself in the short term and in the long run. So let your body wisdom lead. Some things that you might like to check in with: there's checklists in your books, Start the Day Right and the do's and don'ts. There's also the obstacles and breakthroughs if you find that getting up in the morning is a challenge for you. And there's also an intuition worksheet where we can look at the black and white. These are all just suggestions. Just pick the ones that are relevant for you. And I thought I'd close with Dr. Wayne Dyer. For me, he is a spiritual teacher, and he's left these words that fit well with our Start the Day Right habit. Without exception, begin every day of your life with gratitude. As you open your eyes, say, "Thank you, God, for life, for my body, for my family and loved ones, for this day, and for the opportunity to be of service. Thank you, thank you, thank you."